And hello, welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough in New York City. Coming up, we'll sit with an expert sharing about their unique approach to parenting and the fundamental principles outlined in their new book. After that, we'll learn how one organization's dedication to mentoring and community support is shaping the futures of New York City's youth, as well as helping them reach their full potential. The next, we'll discuss the priorities of one organization that's dedicated to advancing the economic, racial, and gender identity justice needs of marginalized LGBTQ individuals. And then, we'll explore a program's dynamic approach to teaching plant education to adults. And we will introduce you to a film festival celebrating Black cinema, music, and culture. More details later on in the show. And then finally, we'll explore how one summit is set to make a significant impact on the Bronx, encouraging participants to embrace their wellness journey and joy with resilience. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime, and you're now watching Open, a program that is live and bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channel. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on throughout the course of the past week. We get to take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we start off with health news. Children in the Bronx have historically faced higher rates of asthma-related emergency department visits, as well as hospitalizations compared to other New York City boroughs. Now, in addressing this, Montefiore is offering a special opportunity specifically designed for Bronx children with persistent asthma. Our BronxNet reporter, Kyrie Moody, has a story.
For most children, summer camp is coming to an end. Well, not for the children here at Montefiore Einstein. They are heading to New Hampshire for a 4-day camp experience. These children suffer with persistent asthma, in which they require asthma treatment on a daily basis.
This is a fantastic program that Montefiore does in collaboration with Zebra Crossings. Zebra Crossings is an organization in New Hampshire for children living with chronic conditions. This program is a family program, meaning that our campers who have an illness, as well as their families, get to participate. The program combines recreational activity with a little asthma education and a lot of community building.
Grishma Patel is currently a medical student at Albert Einstein School of Medicine. She was a camper herself, and now she is being a support to the current campers.
Well, as a medical student, I think it's really important to get an idea of your patient's stories and where they're coming from and their circumstances and stuff like that, and different barriers that they experience and things. And I think being involved with this camp, you can see, a lot of the ways in which you can support kids who are living with asthma.
Here is a family of 4 returning back to the annual camp trip. Dad and his 2 kids are all diagnosed with asthma.
The camp alone, it gives you information on how, signs, things to be aware of to keep the asthma or the breathing and all that stuff, good under control.
I learned more about warnings and solutions, which was very beneficial.
Here are some of the activities the children engage in during the 4 days away.
We were like the bow and arrow, That was my favorite activity.
What else you did?
And we were doing rock climbing, the lakes, and just playing.
Camper Myron Federa says his asthma is not severe. However, he still is persistent in taking his treatment.
My asthma is not very severe, so I only take it like when I'm like coughing or severely out of breath. Like let's say after a sport, I'll take it if I'm out of breath.
Off they go. They will be returning Sunday evening, and we hope that both parent and camper will be fresh and ready to take on the upcoming school year. Reporting for BronxNet, Kyrie Moody.
And thank you, Kyrie. That is all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but guess what? We have more open when we return. And we're back. In today's rapidly shifting landscape of parenting, where the pressures and expectations seem to change by the minute, finding steadfast guidance could be a challenge. Yet despite these evolving pressures, the core principles of effective parenting remain as vital as ever. Our next guest offers practical and reassuring insights into navigating the complexities of modern parenting. Joining me now and sharing more is the author and former elementary school principal, Patricia McGann. And thank you, Patricia, for being with us.
So nice to be here. Thank you, Daren.
You know, it's hard work being a parent. I got to admit it. You know, if you've got children, you know that, and it's a tight rope that you have to walk. But one of the basics is really dealing with character development. That's a core tenet of really parental responsibility. You walk through this in your book. Share with us a little bit about the importance of character development.
Well, you know, I think, Daren, that this society that we live in right now emphasizes different values than most parents have. The idea of being aggressive and entitled and getting things that you want no matter how you have to do it. And most parents want children with strong character, children of integrity, who are compassionate. And so those two things butt up against each other. And that's when parents must be steadfast. They must teach their children their values, and then they must live by those values so their children can see what it looks like to be a person of strong character.
So you take the time to write the book, Steadfast Parenting, and it speaks all to itself right there, steadfast parenting. But how do you describe steadfast parenting?
This is really a book that parents can use as a guide as their children grow. It's not a book you have to sit down and read from beginning to end. It's about the process of growing children in a world that's not always friendly to children. And so it's divided by developmental stages, and there is advice in there, but there's also a lot of encouragement for parents to trust themselves and trust the process and stay in the moment and keep their eye on the child in front of them.
And not only do you talk about the parents, you talk about the child in depth as well, looking at some of the issues that children are really dealing with right now. And at the forefront, in the midst of this, tumultuous world, you've got a lot of kids out here that are dealing with anxiety as well as depression.
Absolutely. And, the exposure that children have to social media and the devices that are present in their lives really don't give them much time to come down from all of that. And so children can get exhausted and become quite anxious. And of course, at this time of year, the anxiety might go up for a lot of children who are heading back to school. They might be worried about having friends and fitting in. Will their teacher like them? can they handle the academics? And so the anxiety level may go up, and parents need to be aware of that.
Yeah. And in writing the book, obviously, you take a lot of knowledge, information, and resources, and you can put them out there for both parents and families out there. What is the most important piece of the parenting component that maybe sometimes the average parent is missing out on?
Well, I think the one thing I would say to parents today is to try and filter out all the demands of school and work and society and activities and move and the expectations that society has for children and for parents. You're not worried about a product. You're not growing a doctor. You're not growing a lawyer or a teacher. You're growing a child. And so to focus back on that child who's right in front of you, where he is now, enjoy him where he is now, support him where he is now, and he will grow as you want him to, and you will both be fine.
Yeah. And the common mistakes. I mean, obviously, parents do have the opportunity to make mistakes in their parental journey. We all have, but let's talk about them. You address some things that people should probably potentially do, but then also stay away from.
Right. I certainly made a lot of mistakes raising my 5 children. And I think that perspective and the perspective of being a principal has helped me to understand that the mistakes are part of the process. But some of the things we don't want to do is we don't want to get into a competition with the people down the street. And we don't want to try and live up to the images of social media and the expectations of society that are they interfere with the relationship between a parent and a child. And so to focus back in, to eliminate some of that input and focus on enjoying your child and enjoying what he is becoming on his own with your support and your love.
Yeah. And for people who want to get some information about the book, Steadfast Parenting, where do you encourage readers to find out and go get the product?
Steadfast Parenting is on Amazon, and it's on barnesandnoble.com, and Roman and Littlefield, which is the publisher, their website also has the book.
I see. Now, I got to ask this question. You said you have 5 children, so does this mean that there are more books that are coming on the way?
Oh, absolutely. And I have 15 grandchildren, so I'm thinking maybe the next book should be for grandparents.
I think you got a lot of content there, so you can tell you can tell us a lot. 5 and how many grandchildren?
15.
God bless you. All right. Well, it's been great talking to you. Listen, if you want more information, you can definitely follow on social media. Again, Patricia McGann. And as she said, she's got 5 children, 15 grandchildren. I think she knows something, y'all. Come on. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this. And welcome back. Since its founding in 1904, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of New York City has been at the forefront of youth mentoring, working to ignite the potential of young people across the 5 boroughs. The organization is dedicated to fostering meaningful relationships between youth and young adult mentors, all while promoting values such as diversity, integrity, and empathy. Here now and sharing more, we've got the Vice President of Recruitment and Outreach at Big Brothers and Big Sisters of New York City. Aaron Frager joins us again, and it's got to be a good time of year for you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's a really busy time of the year, especially we're getting into the back to school season. So gearing up for that, gearing up for our outreach efforts in the community, doing a lot of back to school events across the Bronx. We got one this weekend as well. So super excited about the new school year. And
the opportunity really to I should say match. I was going to say parent.
Yeah.
She had me the last thing we talk about parenting. Match, students and children up with adults, and the opportunity for partnership and mentorship.
Absolutely.
It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we last spoke, we had just launched our Be Bronx Be Big initiative, right? That initiative was really built to increase the number of volunteers that were serving youth in the Bronx that are from the Bronx, right? So creating those mentoring relationships right rooted in the borough. We've been successful in creating a significant number of new Bronx to Bronx matches, and we're still continuing to grow that number, so we're looking to make an additional 100 new matches this coming year. So it's a big goal, but we're really standing behind that and definitely sure that we can make that.
So let's see how we can help to make the dream a reality. What's necessary in order to make this happen?
Yeah, to become a mentor, all you have to do is 2 weekends a month, just about 2 hours each, right? It's something as simple as having a conversation with a young person that's aspiring to do things like you were having earlier, right? Or taking them to the park, introducing to new things, right? Just getting them out of sometimes their environment, or introducing to new things within their environment that they weren't aware of, right? So twice a month, up to 4 hours a month of connecting with this young person, and really just being consistent, right? Checking in on them, seeing how their grades are going, right? Seeing how they're doing in school, the friends that they're making, and working with them towards the goals that they've set out for themselves, and helping them hold themselves accountable to that.
Right. The two segments are a little different, because on one side, we just got finished talking about parenting, right? But on this side, we're really talking about mentoring.
Right.
And the value of mentoring. So when you look at the value of mentoring, particularly in the lives of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and what you've seen amongst the young people, how would you describe the value of mentoring?
I would say it's really rooted in our mission, the growth potential, right? That potential for impact. We see young people that come in that have so many things that society has prescribed onto them, right? And these young people are looking to find their way. The mentor is there to be that positive role model, but as well as being like an extension of their support network, right? So they can grow to whatever that potential might look like. And it's going to look different for everyone, because we're all individuals, and that's what we try to hone in on with the mentoring experience overall.
A lot of times we talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters all the time. We think sometimes the default is little young children, right? But the fact is, we talk about college, and we talk about careers.
Absolutely.
So walk us a little bit through the college and career phase for a lot of the young people, that they get the benefit of having Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Yeah, absolutely. So once our youth are graduating high school, which we have a over 97 or 98% graduation rate, once they graduate high school, they are starting to get that option to join our College and Career Success program, right? And from that program is where they're connected with more of a career-focused mentor, and then they have ongoing professional development through their collegiate experience.
Benefits, if you will. As you look for mentors, benefits, talk to me about for those who actually receive the mentorship. What are the benefits that come having this mentor in their life?
The reality is access, right? We all know the power of network, right? And building your network, we're having the opportunity to build your network from a young age on with folks that are across so many different industries, gives you that exposure that you may not have had without that exposure, right? And that's why we try to create those new mentoring relationships, so that this is long-standing and continue to support that young person's growth.
So there's somebody out there saying, listen, I think I could be a mentor, but I'm not quite sure. Do you have any help for people who want to be potential mentors as far as coaching and things that are necessary? Because sometimes people look at their insecurities and say they write it right off. But the reality is they can really be beneficial to a program. Yeah,
absolutely. I think most of the time, and especially with my interactions with the community, there's a lot of imposter syndrome playing a role there, right? They're like, what could I offer? And I always tell people to kind of think back, if there was somebody that was in your life that did step up for you and kind of showed you how to succeed or how to move forward from a different part of your life, or if there wasn't somebody, try to be that for somebody else, right? That's all you need. As long as you have that drive and that desire to support that young person, that's all we're looking for.
So what's coming up soon? What can people be a part of now?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, the Be Bronx Be Big campaign is still going strong. If you're looking to become a mentor in the Bronx, we're definitely holding a number of activations throughout the year. But with that said, we're doing a bunch of back to school events like we mentioned, and we are just going strong. We're going to see us a lot in the community over the next couple of months and just through the year in general. But yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
You know, we've had, when Big Brothers Big Sisters first came out, this word wasn't really even out there, diversity, equity, inclusion. But yet and still we know that it's very prevalent in society today. Talk to us a little bit about diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to the issue of mentoring and Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Absolutely. So DEI, or sometimes our national uses the phrase JEDI, Justice, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, is really rooted in ensuring that the young people that we serve, which are predominantly youth of color, have continued access and representation within the fields that they might be desired to go into, as well as the support from their mentors, their colleagues, their teachers, anyone that has access to them, to make sure that we are creating safe space for them long term.
You've been doing this for a minute now, and we've been doing this together. Are you liking what you're seeing?
I'm liking what I'm seeing. Like, I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but I was a little in the program growing up.
Right.
So I've been able to really see that full circle journey, and it's changed so much from when I was a child compared to what the program that we're serving now to the community. So I love the growth, and I love still being a part of this journey overall. And
last thing before we go, talk to us again. Somebody out there saying, I want to do this, what do they do?
Yes, so if you are interested in becoming a mentor, go to bigsnyc.org. There is a little widget that says become a mentor or apply today. So yes, and if you want to follow us on BBS NYC. Good to see you again. Thank you, Daren.
All right, best wishes, buddy. All right, listen, again, to recap, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website at bigsnyc.org. You can do the mentorship piece. You can find out all the necessary information that you have to so that you can become a big brother or a big sister. Don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. .5% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. .34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit BronxNet.org to learn more.
And welcome back. The New Pride Agenda is a statewide organization that's dedicated to addressing the economic, health, racial, and gender identity justice needs of the marginalized LGBTQIA plus individuals. And then we've got now the executive director of the New Pride Agenda, Elisa Crespo. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Daren.
Interesting time, right? I mean, when we look around politically and we see things that are going on, justice is at the forefront for a lot of conversations that's out there. And particularly diversity, equity, and inclusion, as I talked about in the last segment, seems to also be of a challenge. But for yourself, a particular concern too, right?
I think that's right. I think that all across the country, we're seeing a well-funded and well-organized effort to roll back the rights of a lot of communities, including the LGBTQ community, women's rights, access to voting rights, etc.
And so for yourself right now, you've got the New Pride Agenda that you're working very closely with, and near and dear to your heart. So somebody doesn't know about the New Pride Agenda, make us more familiar.
Sure. The New Pride Agenda is a statewide education and advocacy nonprofit. We advocate and advance the economic, racial, social justice, and health rights of LGBTQ New Yorkers. Our history is such that we believe that there was still far too much hate to stamp out and far too much rights of our community yet unachieved. And so 5 years ago, we formed the new Pride agenda, and we've been able to do a lot of work in the last 3 years since I've been at the helm of the organization.
And I know one of the things that you're really working on is the Gender Identity, Respect, Dignity, and Safety Act, the GIRDS Act. I want to make sure I had the acronym correct there. So many acronyms here. I got to make sure I got them right, though.
We love an acronym.
Yeah, you do. So talk to me about the GIRDS Act.
Yeah, so this is actually an issue that our tri-state neighbors are ahead of us on. Our friends in California are also leading the charge here. It is still the case in many parts of New York State, not all, but in many counties, the overwhelming majority of the counties where trans people who are incarcerated are not in facilities that align with their gender identity. And you can imagine prisons and jails are a terrible, dehumanizing place for any human being. And I would argue even more so for people of trans experience. This is an issue that I have lived myself, I have been directly impacted by, and so it's very important to me. It's personal.
Yeah. And when we talk about this act, I mean, what kind of resistance are we hearing right now as far as people on the other side?
Well, I think there's a lot of fear-mongering, there's a lot of willful ignorance, there's a lot of stereotypes and misunderstandings of who is trans, what it means to be trans, or what it looks like to be trans.
Right.
And my message is that trans people come in all different shapes and sizes, just like every human being on the globe. And so the idea that someone must fit a certain description in order to be socially accepted as trans and therefore in a facility that aligns with their gender, I think is one that we're still trying to dismantle in Albany.
Yeah, there's a lot of education that needs to go on. I think that's more than this show can actually handle today.
Yeah.
But I think that conversations need to be had, because to just lump people together and really not know the dealings and all the in-between and be ignorant on the matter can sometimes be detrimental to those who are really deeply impacted by that. And I think a conversation as I had with many people within the LGBTQ community who've said, listen, you know what, we just need to have conversation to let people know exactly what it is. And I think people just rather go off the cuff sometimes and really not be able to address and have and have that dialogue. How important do you think dialogue is when it comes to really addressing some of these issues? Because they could probably get a speedier pass through legislation sometimes, and sometimes not. I know, but there could be a little bit more on the legislative side, some traction.
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time in Albany doing just that, education. So we would like to spend more of our time pushing forward legislation, but unfortunately, we have to spend half of that time, if not more, just kind of helping people understand what the issues are in order to get to a place where they have that moment where they're like, I get it now. And so the issue of GIRDS, it's a public safety issue, right? Trans people are about 8 or 9 times more likely to experience physical and sexual assault while they're incarcerated, especially if they're not in a facility that's aligned with their gender identity.
I want to walk through a couple of things here, and I'll let you give me a quick response on these here. Passing the Housing Access Voucher Program, what does that mean?
A game-changing piece of legislation that we should have funded in last year's state budget, but we did not. It's essentially a statewide housing voucher program that would have been eligible for people regardless of their immigration status or their criminal record. It would have allowed people to pay no more than 30% of their income on rent. So think of it as a state version of the Section 8 program.
Talk to me a little bit about the New York State Gender Affirming Care Shield Bill.
Yeah, so this is one of the bills that we championed 2 sessions ago. As you know, if you turn on the news, if you read the newspaper, far-right, fringe, extremist politicians are trying to roll back the rights of many people, including trans youth, successfully so in 25 states in this country. But in New York, we worked with our champion, State Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel, and we worked with Tony Simone, who represents Hell's Kitchen, and we made sure that gender-affirming care would be protected. And we now see trans youth and their families coming from conservative strongholds all across the country coming to New York to receive nation-leading gender-affirming care. And so the legislation is about protecting the providers who provide that kind of care and making sure that New York is not cooperating with any subpoenas for any nefarious reason from any conservative state across the country.
Talk to me about fighting against the anti-trans sports bill. I know this has been a hot topic, particularly during the Olympics, coming out of the Olympics, before that too, but I think even more magnified in the Olympics. And you say that you want to fight against that. For somebody who's out there saying, why fight against that? Your perspective.
Well, because first and foremost, sports are important for all human beings, right? Everyone should be able to participate in a sport regardless of their gender identity or expression. I wake up every day shocked that in the state of New York, the home of the LGBTQ civil rights movement, the home of Stonewall, that there's a county here where trans women only cannot play in facilities, county-run facilities on Nassau County. It really is a ploy and a manufactured crisis by right-wing politicians who are seeking political gain to scapegoat and to fearmonger and to divide and conquer. And I think that division is not a strategy. And so what we're seeing on Nassau County is the county executive, Bruce Blakeman, trying to instill fear in Nassau County voters and trying to say these people are not like you, they're different, and they're taking away your rights, which nothing could be further away from the truth. And I think that tax-paying voters on Nassau County should be weary because there are far more issues that need to be dealt with on Nassau County than legislating sports and people's bodies. The message that I want to bring out to your audience is that the same people that are attacking the rights of women to get access to abortion, contraception, the same people that are rolling back our rights to vote are the same people that are attacking the trans community and access to gender-affirming care and access to trans people to playing in sports.
Before we leave, we got to find out if somebody wants to get information in regards to legislation, stuff that we're talking about right now, and stuff that we probably didn't even cover yet. How do they go about doing that?
They can go to thenewprideagenda.org or they can follow us on Instagram at newprideagenda.
It's been great having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Got to come back. All right. Listen, stay here. Don't go nowhere. Hold on. No, you got to stay because if not, you walk in front of the camera, then I can't do my lines, and it goes like that.
I'm ready to go.
We're going to keep her here. Listen, for more information, go ahead and visit the website at newprideagenda.org. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this. She's going to walk off the set during the commercial. We're going to put somebody else on after the commercial. Somebody else will be back. We'll be back in a minute. And welcome back. The New York Botanical Garden is renowned for its offering of the nation's largest plant-related continuing education program for adults that features over 700 classes, workshops, and lectures annually. We've got with us now the director of the continuing education program at the New York Botanical Garden, LaToya Strong. And LaToya, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, I talk about the Botanical Garden all the time because it literally is one of the biggest staples that we have here in our borough, but it's also attracting so many different people.
Yes. The garden was established in 1891. We're proudly rooted in the Bronx, and there's many ways that one can interact with the garden, including our continuing education program.
Yeah, so somebody says continuing education, Botanical Garden. Doesn't sound like it goes together, but it does.
It does. It goes together so well. Our continuing education program, so we serve adults, and there's many different types of classes that you can take in many different ways. And so we have our certificate programs, which are adults who maybe want to start a new career, they maybe want to change their career, or they maybe want to bolster their career. We have workshops, we have classes that you can come and take for fun. So there's many different ways to learn. You can take classes in person, you can take classes online, you can take them blended. So it really is, you can build your own style of learning.
How big is horticulture education?
In the world of horticulture education is very big. But, and so we have the continuing education program, for example, and then we also have the School of Professional Horticulture. And so that is a 2-year full-time program, which is more of a college experience, if that's what you were looking for to go through in a cohort route.
So you have great instructors, of course. I know there are experts out there.
We do have great instructors. So some of our instructors are New York Botanical Garden employees. And so we have one person who manages all of our woody plants at the garden, and she leads the team, and she's brilliant. Her name is Melissa Finley. She teaches for us. So you can come and you can take classes with the people who are managing the grounds. But we also have folks who don't work at the garden who are experts in their field. And they're practitioners, and that's also who are leading our classes.
Are you finding, is there any particular class that people are literally gravitating to during this time of year?
You know, this time of year, fall is kicking off, and so our fall classes, so we have like fall springs and shrubs, fall shrubs and trees that a lot of folks like. Our floral classes are always popular. Our gardening classes are always popular because there's always something to do in your garden regardless of what time of year it is.
Talk about urban areas for a moment, because this is very important to see. And sometimes we see blight, sometimes we don't see enough, right? But there is an importance of seeing that. I think one of the things that gives the Bronx its beauty is not just the fact that we've got great greens and we've got great horticulture going on. Talk to us about the importance of it, really, in urban areas.
Yeah, so the Bronx is the greenest borough in, in New York City, so I just want to name that. But yeah, plants and trees are incredibly important in urban areas. One, for mental health. Two, for air quality. But we've had over the past month, we've seen the heat waves that have been hitting New York City, and having a lot of trees in urban areas provide tree cover, provide shade that cools areas off. And so having trees in cities are really beneficial for the citizens. Yeah.
What are you finding by way of students coming through? I mean, you offer a multitude, and I say diverse learning opportunities out there. What are you finding by way of students? Is it something that's becoming more and more passionate by people wanting to learn, wanting to know more as we become more of this, eco-society?
Yeah, and so we have many of our students are folks who were like, I was on this route, I was a lawyer, or I was a teacher, or I was doing something else, and then I was called to do something gardening or horticulture or landscape design.
Any news anchors?
Well,
we might be starting, right?
Have you taken a class with us before?
I haven't.
Oh, well, you have to come down.
Okay.
Has anyone else taken a class with us before?
They say no.
No. Okay, so we're gonna organize a field trip, a BronxNet field trip to the New York Botanical Garden.
We're gonna have to do that.
We're gonna have to do it.
Okay. So when you go, obviously, I think sometimes what happens is people have one assumption, but by the time it's all over, they walk away with a different perspective, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because there's just so many different areas in which horticulture can branch. So are you going to if you're a floral designer, are you going to focus on only sustainable floral design? If you're a gardener, are you thinking about native plants, or are you thinking about tropical plants? So there's just so many things that you can learn.
And you got some seasonal workshops that you do, obviously. So talk to us a little bit about some of those seasonal workshops that some of our people can become more familiar with.
Yeah, so we have seasonal workshops where we can only offer it in the spring or the fall because that's just how nature works.
Right.
But then we have seasonal workshops based on holidays. So in December, we have winter solstice, we have Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah. And so you can take classes maybe because you want to create presents for people. So we have a botanical card workshop coming up this year where you can make your own botanical holiday card that you can give to people. We have seasonal workshops that's related to our exhibition. So right now we have Wonderland going on. So we have courses that's related just to Wonderland. We have our orchid show every year, our train show every year, and so we have
workshops.
Been
to the train show. Matter of fact, MC'd at the train show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been down.
And it's coming back, so maybe you should come visit us again.
I probably will. You know, you've got us all going to class right now. In the words of Jack Nicholson, if I'm going down, you're going down too. So we're all going down. We got to go down to class and really find out. But as I really talk from a serious perspective, what I love the most about the Botanical Garden is how people just gravitate. And it could be the little child, and then again, it could be the adults, and all of it just leads to this whole educational experience. So even if you're not coming for formalized education, the reality is once you leave there, you've got the educational experience by the time you left.
Absolutely. I mean, we have so many different gardens. We have a rock garden, a native garden. We have our conifer, our azalea garden. And so you can go in and just see just the diversity of plants through the color, the shapes, the sizes, and just walk away understanding sort of the role that plants play in our life and in our world.
Okay. So since LaToya called us out, I'm talking to my producer upstairs. Patricia, make sure you get us all signed up. But in the meantime, if you want more information, thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you so
much. If you want more information, we want you to visit the website at nybg.org. And you might see our faces on the website because we're going to be in class or something. Don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet Community Media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
And we are back from July 27th to September 21st, I should say. ImageNation is hosting a range of events across Harlem, my hometown, including film screenings, live music performances, and special tributes. And joining me now, we have got the executive producer of ImageNation. We've got Gregory Gates here with us, and
hey, what's going on,
good to have you, brother.
It's good to be here, man.
Listen, I'm excited.
Boogie down.
The boogie down. Harlem comes to boogie down. Listen, every time I'm on, Harlem is on.
There you
But
go.
listen,
that's right.
Exciting time for you guys
Yes.
as well, because this time of year, really things start to ramp up. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. The ImageNation Film Festival. It's our 22nd annual festival this year. Started in 1997 with one screening. Moi Kantigama was the founder of the company. She recently left the company about 3 years ago to work for the Department of Cultural Affairs. I'm now heading the company and expanding it, doing what I have to do. This year is very special to us. It's also Harlem Week 50th anniversary. And I know you probably did a lot of stuff for Harlem Week. Yep. So we've planned a lot of stuff for Harlem Week in terms of we call it a HW50 sidebar, Harlem Week 50 sidebar, where we did 9 films that fell within the festival. And we could get into some of the films. I just want to not dominate the conversation.
No, I mean we can talk about it for a bit because I think it's really huge. But I want to talk about the festival itself.
Please.
The fact that so many people do come out and take part.
It's crazy.
I mean, yes, and I want you to tell people how crazy it is.
Yeah, it's packed. Well, we get about 1,500 people per screening. We do about 19 screenings a year. Again, when we started in 1997, we were in Marcus Garvey Park, my favorite park to be in.
Yes.
We had about 300 people, and we were doing something. But as it grew, like 3 years later, it started being 1,200, and now we cap it off for about 1,500 to 2,000 people per screening. We do screenings all year round. We do mostly screenings in the summertime, as we call it ImageNation Outdoors. And then we do our indoor festival where we do events of some indoor places. But we could talk about the lineup a little bit.
I want to talk about the lineup for a minute, and I know you've got a very special premiere that's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Luther Vandross, Never Too
Yes,
Much.
very excited about that film. So, film, Never Too Much. So, it was at the Sundance Film Festival. You know, it was doing well. A lot of people were veering for it, like Netflix and Apple TV. It was acquired by the news channel, CNN acquired it, and then they announced. Now I'm contacting the filmmaker, the distributor. I'm sending them emails like every other day for 3 months. I'm like, please, I want to get this film. Please, whatever you got to do, I'll give my son. I want this movie. So they announced. So CNN announced that they acquired it and they're airing it on OWN in 2025. Wow. I went, oh. I got a call back after being persistent pays off, right? I got a call back and they said, we'll allow you to show it September the 5th outdoors in our favorite park, Marcus Garvey Park.
Yes, sir.
So we're doing you know, the festival started in '97, but about 16 years ago, we started the Soul Train event. We do a Soul Train event within the festival as well. And that Soul Train event just simply honors different artists who play Soul Train. We've had a Soul Train tribute for Stevie Wonder. Had a bunch of singers do Stevie Wonder songs. We had a Soul Train tribute for James Brown, for Lionel Richie, for Prince. This year, we're honoring Luther Vandross. And the way that Soul Train honor works is that first we find a very interesting film first, because that's the hardest part, and then we get singers to do tribute songs. So once we locked in Luther, then we started getting the best singers we can find in the world who love Luther, and they all doing Luther songs. The hardest part now has been getting the singers to fight over what song they want to do, you know, Here and Now, Home, all these good songs. So it's going to be a great event. It's September the 5th, free and open to the public. It's going to be a bunch of stuff happening, and I really wish everybody could come out. September the 5th at Marcus Garvey Park, and that's like the next to last film that we're showing at the festival. The festival started July the 21st, and it's going to September the 5th, September the 7th.
You have this particular focus about black films that really
thank you for saying
makes a difference, because I think so many times in the film industry, you know, we hear about Tyler Perry's, we hear about Spike Lee's, we hear about, you know, Lawrence Fishburne's, but there's so many other black filmmakers who are really out there on their grind, making hustle, doing that. I mean, we've got the pleasure of having a few sitting across the table from me. But give me the importance of having this black filmmakers and an all black, you know, in an all black community pretty much that really gets the message.
I'm really glad you brought that up. The impetus of our festival is showing black films, showing independent black films. When we started the festival in 1997, I don't think Netflix was around. It was giving out, Netflix was doing DVDs kind of thing. There wasn't that many streaming channels available. And so our job was really important in terms of, you know, we would do a lot of short films, we would do a lot of independent films, but I felt like we made black film along with other festivals. We started the same year Urban World started, the same year Rooftop Film started, you know, there was a lot of festivals around at the time. Urban World, and Rooftop kind of stayed around. But in that grind, I felt like we were very helpful in pushing up black films, catapulting black films. Today, we have Netflix and all these streaming channels, and if you want to see a black film, you can click on, which is great. I felt like we've done our job. It's not over with yet, but I felt like in terms of the access to black film, it's there now. Now you're able to see it. 97, you remember Bill Cosby, it's the 80s, but Bill Cosby or something on TV, we're like, oh my God, we see a blackface on TV. We can't wait to see us, you know. And so that was the reason why Moy Conti started ImageNation Film Festival, so that we can see images of ourselves that are not just stereotypical image, but true images of who we are.
Yeah. Gregory Gates got to leave it there. He's the executive producer of ImageNation. I want you to come out to Marcus Garvey Park. There you can find out more take part in the film festival. I went to Rice High School, so I know about
yeah.
right there. Telling
Thank you,
man.
thank you.
Now, if you want more information, go ahead and visit the website, ImageNation.us. Encourage you to go anywhere. We've got more open coming up right after this. We've got more guests to open up. Don't go anywhere.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
And welcome back. The Love Wellness Fitness Summit is a dynamic event that's actually dedicated to tackling the pressing health disparities in the community. Things such as high blood pressure, diabetes, stress. They tackle it. Join me now, the CEO of Pearle LLC, Tiah Barnes. And Tiah, how are you?
I'm well today, thank you. How are you?
Glad. I'm good. I can't complain. You know, it's been a great show and great guests. And you're here, and we're going to have this conversation because I think it's very much needed when we talk about what goes on in our community.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of health disparities, right?
Yes.
And when we talk about hypertension, and we talk about, you know, diabetes and stress, these are things that communities of color, particularly African Americans, face on a daily basis.
Yes.
How are you dealing with it?
So not just African Americans, but my focus is the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
So a disparity such as diabetes. In the Bronx, we have the highest number of diabetes in all of New York City.
Right.
So really looking at those spaces where we could improve our health in other ways in addition to medical health.
How do you address these disparities? I think everybody's, you know, we recognize it's prevalent, right? And we recognize it's there. Right. We don't want to be the worst in the county and amongst the state when it comes to health. But the fact is, yes, we are. But we also have to address some of these things and address them from a way of not just talking about it, but actually doing something about it. What's being done?
So what we do is we look at wellness, right? And so wellness and fitness, and help people to shift how they think about wellness and fitness, and provide access to different forms of wellness and fitness. So everybody might not go out for a sound healing or for yoga, but we want to provide access to the different forms of holistic wellness that will help people address those health issues. Yeah.
So what's the community's response or responsibility in this? How does the community deal with some of this?
The community's response is to show up,
right?
To come out to the event, to engage with the experts that we have at the event, to learn more about how they can address any health issues that they may be facing, or for some of us, like myself, health issues because it's been hereditary, right? So how do I address those things that I can't control because of hereditary? Well, I exercise, I meditate, I engage in order to lessen the impact of those illnesses.
Do you find that when you're bringing this issue to the forefront in our community, there's a little bit of miseducation that's going on or a lack of awareness?
A lack of awareness, miseducation, and one of the miseducations is I don't have time. Right? You say to people, well, if you work out 30 minutes a day, you can lessen hypertension. You can lessen the impact of diabetes. And people will say, well, I don't have time for that. And I always talk about, well, think about the things that you make time for. That half hour that you sat there and watched Ratchet TV.
Right.
You could have been working out while you're watching the television, and help to decrease your health concerns.
Talk to us about some more holistic approaches, because there are some very holistic approaches that we can do that really don't take a lot. You just gave a perfect case and example, but the thing that we like to give you a very nice about it is excuse. That's what we give.
Yes.
So
yes.
talk to us about some more holistic approaches that maybe people could take that can be beneficial towards them.
Okay, so think about the range of ways to work out or the ways to impact our mental health. So we have mindfulness. People can guide you through meditation, Zumba. I'm also a certified Zumba instructor. Bar, which is a class which infuses Pilates and yoga and dance. I have a dance background. I went to New York City public schools and learned all forms of dance right here in my favorite borough. And just think about just taking those times and those moments to really meditate and reflect. There's so many things out there that people can address, and I tell people to find what you love. So some people come to my classes because they love Zumba.
Right.
Other people might love to do spinning classes or Soul Cycle, so just find what you love and move.
Yeah. Well, let's move people to the summit. How do they get to the summit? When's the summit, and where do they go?
Absolutely. So the summit is on Saturday, September 7th. It's from 12 to 4 p.m. and they can, it's at Sankofa House right here in the Bronx. And I chose Sankofa House because Mott Haven has the highest incidence of diabetes and high blood pressure. So I'm really looking to target that community and help people engage. They can check my website, www.pearlellc.org. We have tickets from $30, $50, but we also have scholarships. Yeah. So I want to make sure everyone has access. So the excuse, like you said, can't be money, because we have scholarships for people to come for free.
Yeah, and, but we talk about access. That is a real problem for some many people. I mean, we talked about excuses. Yes, they're playing people guilty, and excuse is your thing, right? But if we keep it 100, access is really one of the big drivers for the disparities. What can we do? What's better? What can we do in addressing this whole access issue to make things better for our community?
Well, for me, the way I'm addressing access is to make sure people can afford to do it.
Right.
You say something like a Soul Cycle class. Well, a Soul Cycle class might cost someone $20. Well, I can't make a decision between my kids eating and going to a class. So look for ways that you can access it for free. A lot of classes are online now. That's one of the things that we learned in the pandemic, is we can do it in the comfort of our homes.
Right.
So look for those free classes that are given in the community, classes that are given online. There are many ways to access wellness.
And the reality is, you are access.
Yes, here.
Right there at the Soul Summit. So make sure you take part. Thank you so much for coming with us.
Thank you.
Again, let's give them the date and time.
Yes, Saturday, September 7th from 12 to 4 p.m. here in the Bronx at Sankofa House. Hope to see you all there.
Tiah, thank you so much, all righty? Want to let you know that if you want more information, please don't hesitate to get to her. And I think that website, I should say Instagram, is I am Tiah Barnes, and on Facebook, Pearle LLC. And so listen, thank you so much for joining us. We've come to the end of our show today. Want to thank all our guests again for joining us, and you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, catch the recablecast here, Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. Of course, you can catch a brand new episode of Open on Friday with my girl, Rita Valentin, Café con Leche. She'll tell you all about it. But this wraps up this particular episode of Open. I am Daren Jaime, encouraging you. Make sure you keep this channel wide open. We say take care, God bless,